Welcome, everybody. Okay, we're going to solve two problems and prep for the test on Friday. And this is what we spent all our time doing on Wednesday, Thursday, practicing in class. Solving two-step equations by drawing and by using algebra. Okay, so I'm going to show both. Remember, you're trying to be mathematically flexible, being able to solve it in more than one way. So let's start by drawing. So we have, in this case, 3 x's. So I'm going to draw 3 x's. There's 1, 2, trying to make them approximately the same size, 3. And then from the 3 x's, I need to subtract 8. So I am not going to put the 8 here because that would be adding on 8. So I'm going to, from the end, take out 8. That can be, you can go as much as you want. When I take out that 8, what I have left over with, this particular part right here, this chunk, is worth, it says, negative 44. Okay, so there's my picture. Now some of you in class were able to figure out which picture went with which problem. Now can you use this picture to solve the problem? You're like, nope, I don't want to, I want to use algebra. Well, we're going to try and figure this out right now without algebra. So based on the picture, this whole chunk here is 3 x's. It's equivalent to this down here. So that would be our first step. How much is this chunk worth? Because that would tell us how much 3 x's is worth. So what would you do with these two numbers here to figure that out? Well, you need this chunk and this chunk together, which means I'm going to add them. So negative 44 plus 8. On the number line, where are you going? Negative 44, left, plus 8. You are turning around, coming back, but it's shorter because it's 8. So it's still going to be negative. They overlap, so you're going to subtract. When I subtract 44 minus 8, I am at 36. But it's in the negative realm, so it's negative 36. All right, then the problem is not done. Now we know in our picture that this particular part down here, I'm going to redraw it, I have x, x, and x. That part is worth how much now? We added those together and we got negative 36. So I went from here to there. Now we have one more step to do. What would we have to do with this negative 36 to get what x is worth? What one of these boxes is worth? Well, 3 of them is worth negative 36, so I could cut 36 up into 3 equal parts, and that would tell me how much one chunk is worth. So if I take negative 36 and divide it up into 3, I should know what one of those chunks is worth. So it's going to be negative, because I have a negative divided by a positive, and 36 divided by 3, you do the division, is 12. So x equals negative 12. Okay, but it's not done. Why not? Because we're going to solve it using algebra. Okay, so we solved using the picture, and now we're going to figure it out using some algebra there. So let's go ahead and draw our line down. And now I rewrite it out, leaving some space. We were out negative 44, leave some space. The whole point is to get x alone. So we need to get rid of that minus 8 and that 3. So what do we get rid of first? The subtraction by 8. So we need to do the opposite of that. So I'm going to add 8. If I do that to one side, I have to do it to the other side. So now these right here are opposites. That's 0. So I'm just left with 3x on this side. And then we already added this in our picture, negative 44 plus 8. That would be negative 36. And then we have one final step. We need to get rid of this multiplication by 3. So to do that, I'm going to bring in the division and divide by the number I want to go away, which is 3. So now I'm left with 1x. And what does that x equal? Well, negative 36 divided by 3 is negative 12. Same answer, people. Different method. And now is the problem done? No, because we need to check it. We need to show that it works. And some of you still need to figure out this check. So So check means I would rewrite the original problem. That's nice, I already have it down. And we're questioning it. We're going to plug in what we got for x. We have 3, what do we get for x? Times negative 12. I'm plugging in what I got. Minus 8, and we're seeing, is that negative 44? So I'm going to need to multiply first. 3 times negative 12 is negative 36. And uh-oh, these are not the same. But that's okay because we still have to subtract 8. And when we do that, the question is, are we going to be at negative 44? So negative 36 minus 8, I keep going, so really I'm just adding them and attaching a negative, which means I will end up at negative 44, and it checks! Okay, one more problem. One that involves division. All right, we're going to start out by John. I don't have 3 x's, I have x that's being divided up into 3. Okay, 3 parts. Now, one of those parts, I'm going to take one of these parts, and I'm going to add 5 to it. Add on to it 5. And I want, well, it says if I take one of those parts and I add 5 and I add 5, it's worth 2. So this whole part is worth 2. So how do I go backwards and figure out how much x is worth, that whole chunk? Well, well, well. If I know this whole thing is 2, and part of it is 5, then, I could figure that out. So I need to take the big chunk, which is 2, and subtract off the smaller chunk, and I should get what I have left. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. So this part right here is negative 3, which means what is this equivalent to? Same thing, negative 3, negative 3, negative 3. So what would my x value be? Well, I have 3 of what? 3 of negative 3's. And 3 times negative 3 is what our x would equal, negative 9. Okay, let's solve this thing using some algebra. Now, if that totally confused you, try watching that part again. Okay? Seriously, I'm not lying. All right, let's solve it using algebra. So I'm going to rewrite it out. X over 3 plus 5 equals 2, leaving some space. First thing I need to get rid of is the addition by 5. And how do we do that? Subtract 5. Both sides. Hey, and that's what we did first in our picture. So now I have these opposites formed right here. Those are gone. Opposite, 0. So I'm left with x over 3. And 2 minus 5 is negative 3. And now we need to get rid of the division by 3. So to do that, I'm going to do the inverse of division, which is multiplication, by the number I want to go away, 3. Both sides, because it's an equation. So I am left with, boom, those are gone. X is going to be what we got before, negative 9. And then, people out in my video audience, is it done? No, because we need to check it. Okay, so I'm going to plug in negative 9 here. Negative 9 over 3 plus 5, and we're questioning it whether it's 2. So I'm first going to perform the division. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. And that is not the same as 2. Why not? Do we get it wrong? Well, not yet, because we still have to add 5. Now, would that answer be 2? Well, on the number line, we'd go negative 3. Add 5, we turn around, it's longer because 5 is bigger. So we really subtract the 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. And we are left in the positive realm. So yes, we have our moment of joy because it worked and I did get it to equal 2. Okay, I'll see you on Friday for some patterns that we started last week and the test.